Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. Let's just jump right in today because we are tackling a truly fascinating and honestly kind of urgent tension happening right now in the tech world. It's something we call the autonomy paradox. We're going to explore this massive and frankly somewhat reckless shift from our historic vision of humans and AI working together as partners to the tech industry's sudden rush toward unmonitored full autonomy. It is literally a journey from collaborative promise to serious financial and ethical peril. Trust me, understanding this is absolutely crucial for anyone navigating the modern tech landscape. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the 1966 partnership promise, track the modern shift to full autonomy, unpack those runaway costs and token traps that are catching companies completely off guard, explore the ethics of the moral crumple zone, and finally, figure out how to reclaim the decision loop. All right, Section 1, the 1966 Partnership Promise, a collaborative vision. Think about this. Back in a 1966 BBC archive program discussing Alan Turing's theoretical machines, the vision was already crystal clear. Even back then, when computers were just 22 years old and took up literally entire rooms, the whole idea was a symbiotic relationship, right? The machine would handle the heavy computational lifting with blazing speed and efficiency, but the human was the essential director, applying their creative ability and executive judgment to the results. It was never about replacing us, it was about amplifying us. And that 1966 vision connects directly to our best modern frameworks. Take the Creative Commons Working Group exploring AI authorship. They talk about humans collaborating with AI as ghost authors. In this kind of healthy dynamic, the human is highly active, providing technical input, setting parameters, curating the output. The human is still the director of the creative process. It perfectly echoes that early partnership promise. This brilliantly illustrates what we call the human in the loop, or HITL architecture. In a HITL system, the AI doesn't just go off and act entirely on its own. It proposes, and then you, the human, step in at critical moments to validate, correct, or flat out reject the output before it does anything in the real world. You remain the primary decision maker. Honestly, it's the ideal architectural choice for reliability, accountability, and avoiding just massive mistakes. But things are changing. Section 2, the shift to full autonomy, or as I like to call it, the siren song of speed. Enter human out of the loop, or HOOT. Now, this is the exact polar opposite of what we just discussed. A HOOT system is designed to sense, decide, and act completely independently. No human approval. No human pause button. The ultimate goal here is absolute machine speed. The theory is, hey, if you remove the human, you remove the friction, right? Well, actually, scratch that. As we're about to see, removing the human creates entirely new, catastrophic problems. 89%. Let that sink in. According to recent data from Gartner and IDC, 89% of enterprise AI agent pilots that attempt to operate fully autonomously never reach production scale. They fail. Almost 9 out of 10. Just poof, gone. And it actually gets worse. By 2027, over 40% of these agentic AI projects won't just stall out. They're going to be completely abandoned. Why? Because when you rip the human out of the equation, you don't just remove friction, you remove governance, oversight, and accountability. Without us there to guide the system, these agents misinterpret goals, they violate policies, and they create massive security exposures. Moving fast and breaking things isn't so fun when the thing breaking is your entire workflow. So without a clear return on investment, these projects just collapse under their own weight. Which brings us to the money. Section 3, runaway costs and token traps, the economic friction. To really understand why these agents are secretly burning through budgets, you have to look at how they loop. Unlike a simple chatbot where you ask one question, get one answer, an autonomous agent loops. It sends a prompt, it calls external tools, and then, here's the killer. It resends the entire conversation history back to the model to maintain context for its next step. It enters a recursive loop. And since AI models charge by the token, basically a unit of computing brain power, by step 20, you've paid to process that exact same history 20 times over. Yikes. This creates what's known as the agentic multiplier. A standard human-prompted chatbot consumes a baseline of tokens, but an autonomous agent trying to complete a workflow on its own, it consumes anywhere from 5 to 30 times more tokens for the exact same overarching task. The costs don't just add up, they multiply exponentially. Researchers are actually calling this the communication tax. Redundant tasks like automated code reviews and constantly resending that context history we talked about can eat up 59% of every single token spent in one of these loops. Now, you might hear that the price of individual AI tokens is dropping, and yeah, that's true, but the sheer exploding volume of redundant data these agents process makes traditional SaaS budgeting completely obsolete. If you aren't monitoring this, an agent can rack up millions of tokens in minutes. But it's not just about money. Section 4, beware the moral crumple zone, the ethics of failure. So the crucial point is this concept of the moral crumple zone. Just like the crumple zone on the front of a car is designed to absorb the destructive impact of a crash, in poorly designed AI systems, the human worker becomes the crumple zone. They end up held legally, morally, or professionally liable for the catastrophic failures of an autonomous system they had absolutely no meaningful control over. When an autonomous agent is operating in the dark, it might hallucinate data, or violate a major compliance policy, or just spiral out of control. But who pays the price? The human worker takes the blame. There's a profound, incredibly unfair structural mismatch between who actually controls the system and who is ultimately held responsible when the algorithm makes a high-stakes error. The psychological toll this takes on a workforce is immense. It creates true structural occupational stress. Imagine being forced to rely on an AI you can't fully understand or audit, but knowing you will be fired if it messes up. This dynamic completely erodes trust across teams, it causes major decision paralysis, and it totally strips the human of their agency. So how do we fix this? Section 5, reclaiming the decision loop using the Unix philosophy. First and foremost, caveat emptor. Buyer beware, folks. For the technology leaders and CFOs listening, you absolutely must adopt a highly defensive posture. Do not get blinded by some flashy pilot demo, and definitely do not fund the initial build of an autonomous agent if you are ignoring the data governance, the system integration, and those runaway token costs that will inevitably follow deployment. To bring visibility and control back to the enterprise, you've got to implement these 3 tactical FinOps steps. First, workload right-sizing. Stop sending easy tasks to massive, expensive frontier models. Use highly efficient small language models instead. Second, multi-provider routing. Dynamically route your tasks between different AI vendors so you don't get trapped by one company's pricing. And third, inline evaluations. You must install real-time token circuit breakers. That way, if an agent gets stuck in an infinite loop, the system automatically shuts it down before it drains your whole budget. But above all, we really must embrace a human-in-command architecture. This is a return to the classic Unix philosophy of computing. It's echoing exactly what that 1966 BBC program envisioned. The computer should serve the human. AI systems need to be built as modular, understandable tools wielded by human experts, not autonomous black boxes that try to usurp us as the ultimate decision maker. And that leaves us with a really critical question to consider as these technologies integrate into our daily lives. When you look at the AI systems being deployed around you today, in the age of total autonomy, are you the driver in command, or are you just being positioned as the moral crumple zone? Well, thank you for joining me for this explainer, focused learners. Stay curious, stay in the loop, and I will see you next time.